So the business of sport is also very, very important, and there are a number of brands and companies and people that play a vital role in making sure that the lifeline of sport, and particularly women's cricket, is really taken care of, and it's important to be able to reflect on that and partner with that. It's really great to have Nwabisa Sauls, who's the commercial manager, a senior commercial manager at Nielsen Sports South Africa, and MacDonald, who's the head of marketing at Suzuki South Africa, with us today. And I'm going to start with you, Nwabisa. You spoke so well on stage. No stage fright, nothing.
The light was just blinding me there. So it was quite a shock because I had been on stage before prior to the presentation, and I just that wasn't on. Yeah. But then when I walked in, I was like, oh, I'm blind. Yeah, others, yeah. I mean, it was a great session with all the speakers and panelists.
Yeah, this is very more chilled. This is a more relaxed environment, so you can relax a little bit more.
So he's got a TV camera at us. He says we must relax. Okay.
Yeah,
exactly. We do this every day.
Exactly.
My only question: did you have cushions when you were sitting?
No, so this is
so exactly.
This is the platform we've created.
Nwabisa, I'm going to start with you. I mean, Nielsen, sort of monitors certain things, and they play a vital role in giving insights into where the trajectory of the game is going, whether it's different sporting codes. And where have you seen women's cricket go, particularly in the past, maybe say 2 years, 3 years or so?
So there's definitely been an increase in awareness. Yeah. So more people are more aware, cricket. So, I mean, cricket was more of a niche sport, but it's becoming more popular as, we've seen it on TV. Yeah. There's been more broadcast of it, and so more people are aware of it. And then that interest is driving viewership on TV. Yeah. So definitely that's something that we've seen. And within that broadcast, I mean, SuperSport has done a really great job in terms of replays. That's your repeats and highlights. Yeah. So sponsors like Suzuki has an opportunity to be seen by not only a certain age group, but multiple age groups. Like for someone like me, I work full time. I may not have a chance to watch cricket the whole day, but with an opportunity to watch a highlight or a repeat, I'm exposed to that brand.
Yeah. What's been the driving force in this sort of exposure of the game in recent time?
The quality of the product, definitely. The team's been doing very well. So then that drives more interest and awareness. Yeah.
For me, I think we had quite a fascinating, quite robust conversation, especially coming from some of the players as well. Some of the points that were raised by Sunelise, for example, where she mentioned, from a commercial point of view, could there be more targeted sponsorship where sponsors are particularly going for, maybe we're going to sponsor the women's team, or are we just always going to have that blanket approach where you're approaching both sides? Suzuki has recently been on board with Cricket South Africa. Are those some of the things that you think about, consider before you partnering with Cricket South Africa or specific teams?
For Suzuki, it was actually a no-brainer to partner with the women's and the men's team. So when we first saw it, they actually first offered us T20, and we went, but why that? Why not ODI? Yeah. And why not both? Yeah. I'm a natural equalist. I believe in equal rights for everybody across the board, and by the same thing, you should get the same money. What I really like about the Cricket South Africa thing is the parity that they have between the men and the women. Yeah. Is they all get the same match fee. Absolutely. They all fly business class. They stay in single rooms in hotels. They're not second-class citizens. Yeah. And I was fascinated to find out today that rugby and soccer are way behind SA cricket. So I'm personally and professionally proud to be associated with this brand.
What was the decision, though? What was so attracting about cricket for Suzuki to say we're going to come on board and particularly be a partner to both the men and the women, but particularly the women, where the space is growing at a rapid pace?
So there's two parts to the journey. Was actually we're friends with Fly Sapphire as well, and we got introduced to them, and then they took it further there. So that's part one of the story.
A
Part
friend
two,
of a friend.
friend.
Okay, all right.
Those
Okay.
nice friends to
It was a
have.
blind date. And then I'm trying to think where the second part of my story is that the men and women it was an obvious connection. I heard someone saying earlier that Clicks brand that only wants to sponsor women. I don't think we can ignore the men in this situation, and I don't think we can ignore the men anyway. But Nwabisa also touched on why do we want to continue sponsoring? It's the quality of the product. Keep winning, girls. That's what makes people want to watch.
The role of storytelling, I think, again, now something that also was quite important mentioned is the team has done fantastically well. First, Proteas team to actually, the women's team was the first Proteas team to actually be in the final. How important is that? And maybe I'll send that question towards you, Nwabi, to maybe just tell, because it's been a good period for the women's team and they're doing well, but as alluded to as well by Wanel, is that maybe the women's game is not getting the needed coverage in terms of telling those stories. How important is that?
The art of storytelling, it's very important because these are not just players, they're humans as well. So as much as they're playing, there's a lives outside of it. How do they pray for the game? So then there's so many ways that you can incorporate that into like a campaign or, a storytelling. How does Suzuki fit into their daily lives? How does Suzuki fit in when they have a match day? How does Suzuki supports them? Because it's not, for me, it's not just about logos, but the impact as well. So storytelling is very important. So I'll make an example of a different property, which is Absa Ranyu City. So that specific property, you can literally see Absa everywhere in the streets, from when you're signing up to to the race days, how it looks like. For me, that's just a wonderful example of storytelling. And it's not just seen by people who are running, it's seen by people who are consuming the content. I at home not running, but I can see that there was an Absa Ranyu City. Everyone is in their red. The streets are literally red. The campaign represent Absa. So for me, storytelling is not just about mentioning Suzuki. It's just like feeling Suzuki's impact on exactly.
Can I just follow up actually? Especially for you, Megan, with Suzuki coming on board, at times you feel that maybe it's easy to get a brand to come on board, but to keep that relationship and sustain that relationship at times could be harder, where maybe you're not getting the coverage that you're looking for. Or how important is that also to not just be a partner that comes in for a year or two, but to actually build this relationship with Cricket South Africa?
Yeah, that's first of all, I don't think it's easy to get a brand on board. It's not a cheap sponsorship. It's a lot of cars. It's a lot of money. And you have to be careful how you put that out there. A lot of it is dependent on the relationship within the commercial teams. But it's not about freebies. So for me personally, and again, professionally, I want to see my brand out there. I want people to associate Proteas cricket with our brand. The sales will come. But they must see them together. Keeping the relationship long term, I think, let's see. We're 2 months in. I would like it to go for a long time. I think that gives the brand stability and gives the team stability. So I'd like to see it going forever, long after I've retired.
That's a very long time still to go. Don't worry. You're still looking fresh here, Megan. Don't worry. Don't talk as if it is something that's now.
You know what? It's actually a thing. You need to make sure that even inside the brand, that this is passed on. That
100%.
That my passion for cricket, which is okay, it's just me. I'm passionate about cricket, but my passion for cricket must go to the guys I'm training.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. Nwabisa, I wanted to find out in terms of the numbers and who's consuming women's cricket in particularly? Like, what are the demographics there? Is it young, old? What are the numbers saying about the consumption of women's cricket in South Africa?
It's quite interesting because the people who are consuming women's cricket are both men and women. I think in South Africa, people are just like multi-sport fans as opposed to just specifically to. So we're seeing quite a. I think the average age group is around 34. Okay. Yes. Yeah. And basically the in terms of male and female, it's both. But obviously, I think men 51%, or in women is like 49%. I'll have to double check. Don't quote me. And then the fan base is based in Gauteng. Surprisingly, I don't know whether that's surprising, but like most of the fans are from Gauteng.
One more from my side. I mean, you are the data guru here. And using it effectively in terms of attracting more partners like Suzuki on board. Is there some sort of a link with obviously the federation like Cricket South Africa where they can tap into that space and say, okay, how can we get more and more sponsors promoting the women's game, promoting the men's game effectively?
So I think Cricket SA needs to tell their story, number one, using players, whether it's through games, and our role is to track that traction. And then when Cricket SA is looking for a sponsor, they can say, Suzuki has been a partner for a year, and this is the amount of exposure they're getting from being associated with the women's and the men's team. So then with Suzuki being on the front of shirt, that's an exposure. They could tailor their sponsorship rights, for example, or packaging, saying that if you want to be a front of shirt, this is the amount of money. It just like gives them, it empowers them in terms of when they're going for negotiations, they have data to back it up. So data provides credibility. Yeah.
Megan, a final one to close this off. I mean, it's 2 months into this new relationship.
Still new.
It's a young
It's a
relationship.
very young one.
We're not even at honeymoon.
No,
The honeymoon must continue.
we are still at honeymoon phase. We need to go past it into the difficult stages. But I think you've partly touched it in your answer a little bit earlier on about the longevity of it. And Suzuki, it's a brand that's been around for, especially in South Africa, for a very long time, but pretty new in terms of the sports sponsorship space. What have you learned in the past two months and your relationship with Cricket South Africa and other brands as well? I mean, Orlando Pirates is one that you work with closely. Is there anything that you've learned in the short space of time that Suzuki's been in the sports marketing field?
It's a very interesting question. I think for the benefit of the brand and for the benefit of the fans, the teams have to keep winning. And nobody supports. If you've seen that certain clubs, their fans get bigger and their fans get smaller. And it's because they're winning. Very few people are just dyed and wool. I'm going to be this fan forever. I am one of those people. I'm just saying. But
You sound like a Manchester United fan.
Wow. I'm a Man United supporter.
Well, take it from Arsenal.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's two of the brands that swear words in their name. I'll explain later. Anyway, so yeah, what have we learned? I don't know. It really is too soon. Pila, I don't know how to answer you that one. I think what we're going to learn is about relationships, about players, about growth. Yeah.
That's good. I think that's a good start.
Yeah, honeymoon phase. What did I say? We're honeymooning.
Yeah, I think that's a good start, and hopefully it's a relationship that lasts a lifetime. Because I mean, we need.
I think that's for the benefit of all. Is a relationship that lasts. You don't want to look like a oh, I dropped in, you're not good enough, I'm leaving. You have to stick with it.
Yeah.
Speaking of relationships, there is 2 broadcasters in South Africa. The importance of this question could be from both. I mean, how important having a healthy relationship between SABC and SuperSport, because they do provide for maybe wider mass market, different LSMs. How important is that relationship to ensure that obviously you get the coverage that probably taps into everyone in South Africa?
I think, and this is definitely not speaking with any knowledge, but I think the broadcasting in this country is going to get a shake-up, because the disparity between a very expensive product and a free product and who's getting what, I think it's due for a shake-up.
I see the importance of both. One, SABC obviously has a higher reach because of the accessibility that it has, but SuperSport at the same breath. What we've seen a trend over the years is that cricket and the likes of rugby were more on the premium subscriptions, but now what they've done is trying to tear down to the lower packages. So then, that's more access, yes. So I think the importance of both is important. Both broadcasters are important. It's just a matter of what do you have access to at the time, because we all know that SABC, there's barely any repeats or highlights. So then in terms of accessing it at a later stage, just seeing, the consumption habits over the years. I mean, like we here, if something that you have interest on is being broadcast as SABC, which means you've missed it, unless, you go back to their app, for which other people don't have, I always view things from the urban and rural areas. Not everyone has the luxury of going back to consume something because, they have access to the internet or data. Yeah. So I do think that both broadcasters play quite an important role. But what else I can just highlight is streaming. More and more people prefer to just there's also rights holders owned or broadcasters owned streaming platforms like your DSTV stream, and as I mentioned, is it SABC Plus? Yes. So there's that too. So linear at the moment is very saturated. Yeah.
Nwabisa, thanks for your time. Megan, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. I think these insights help the game grow, and especially the women's game here in South Africa. And hopefully Suzuki can still be a partner for a very long time. So thank you very much for your efforts, and hopefully these discussions can continue into the future.